Yes, definitely, Peter. We are here walking back to the main campus from the West campus. So the protesting students have managed to mobilize students on the West campus who was attending their lectures. Now these group of students from the West campus have also joined the earlier protesters. From my visuals, we'll show you now that the number of protesting students have definitely increased from what we saw in the morning. But the surprising part about this was, Peter, we did not see a single police on the West campus, unlike what we saw on the main campus earlier this morning. There were some police vans by the gate of the West campus, but police failed to do what the university had told them to do so. This is what Sharona Patel, who's the spokesperson of Wits University, said, that the police did not act upon the students while they were disrupting classes in the main campus. Dalim Mpofu, obviously, Advocate Dalim Mpofu is leading the march of students, followed by other former SRC leaders, the current SRC leaders, Mqebo Dlamini, SRC president, and various other people leading the march right there. Students have now come back to the main campus, and they've said that whole day they're going to be mobilizing and they will render this university ungovernable.
She's struggling to catch your breath there as the crowds are moving swiftly from coast to coast, if I can put it that way. Have the students actually indicated where the next stop is after the main campus? Where are they planning to mobilize more students from?
Well, I'm sorry about that. It's the students here don't walk really slowly, so journalists have to be up. We have to up our game while marching with these students here. Young blood trying to get what they want, so we are moving in with them right now, as said to us by the student leader here, saying that they are going to be going outside the Great Hall. But remember now, unlike the West campus, this is a very different situation here in the main campus, where there are a large number of police presence as well as the security officials here. We haven't yet spoken to any of the students here. They haven't really engaged with the media, but they've said once they finish their protest here, they will be speaking to us. We will be engaging with Advocate Dalim Mpofu on what is his reason of supporting students and protesting, taking part in this protest today.
Is Advocate Dalim Mpofu actually on the ground with the students marching right now, or did he leave after meeting and addressing them at the West campus?
No, we can't show you visuals of Advocate Dalim Mpofu, who is marching with the students. In fact, he's leading the march from West campus to the main campus. He did address the students, and he is... Oh! That was a stun grenade that was... Show visuals, show. Police have fired tear gas and stun grenades. These are the visuals. Without any confirmation, police have done that. These are the angry, agitated students. Come here, come, guys. Guys, please come this side, please. Please, students, please. Oh, no, guys. Go. Can you? Go. What? I'll run with you. Move, I'll run. Close the backpack. Yes, Peter, I'm with you.
Colin, just stay safe there. We'll try and stay on these pictures if they can. I see it's a very, very tense situation. Maybe you can, we've got you live. You can just keep running us through what's going on here.
Yes, Peter, we can confirm police had shot rubber bullets and stun grenades here. Our students were making their way to the main campus. These are the angry students now, very agitated, asking the police that they were marching peacefully to the main campus when police did that. Apologies, Peter, right now we just ran, so apologies for the breath.
No problem, Kelvin. We'll just talk over these pictures
yes, Peter,
for now.
I can also confirm right now, students have resorted to throwing stones now. They're retaliating to the police's. Sure. Yeah, police have just resorted to firing tear gas.
Reporter Keldon there live
Yes, Peter,
on the
I can
ground.
confirm. Police have just resorted to shooting tear gas here.
Police trying to inhale that tear gas and try to stay as safe as possible. We're getting live pictures there from Wits, the Wits protest. We can see that the police officers have actually shot tear gas and they're actually shooting rubber bullets at the students who were protesting peacefully from the West Campus to the main campus. And once those shots were fired, the students began to retaliate by throwing stones at the police, and they're getting quite agitated as to why the police are shooting rubber bullets at them whilst they were protesting peacefully and unarmed at that time. Our reporter trying to keep up with the march there. You can see live visuals of the students moving, and we can still see some smoke from the tear gas that was fired earlier on, as well as a green plummet of smoke from the stun grenades. We see students running and scattering and a bit of screaming as well going on as they're being shot at right now by the police, trying to disperse the large crowds that have gathered.
Well, these are live pictures, as Kia was saying. Our reporter Keldon just trying to find a safe place to bring you these live pictures as students disperse. It must have been a group of between 200-300 at a guesstimation here. Our cameraman keeping the camera rolling there to try and bring you the best visuals possible, along with staying safe. It is a media crew as well, a large media contingent there now with cameras from all over the country. And possibly the continent, as we may well be seeing Wits University being shut down, as we see some students there possibly being injured. We're trying to bring you these pictures as tear gas is being sprayed. Students are being affected by this tear gas and now making their way and dispersing. You can be assured, though, that they will be trying to develop and form groups elsewhere. You can be assured of that, but we're just trying to bring you these live pictures for you now.
We can see students trying to make their way to safety there. Some of them have been injured not only by the tear gas, but also some of them have been shot at by those rubber bullets and received some flesh wounds. We can see the crowds have dispersed slightly, but the movement will still continue as the leaders vowed today will be the shutdown of Wits University, and they vowed that no matter what the police do to them, no matter what is said or done to them, they will continue. We can also see Advocate Dali Mpofu there speaking to the police officers.
Ask them to stop engaging.
Oh, that's right. Dali Mpofu, they're just begging with police. Let's try and listen in.
Advocate Dali Mpofu,
yes.
Can you just tell us what you noticed?
Colonel Taker, who's in charge of the operation here, he obviously says his men had to respond because of the stoning. We've now agreed that the students must gather in one place, and subject to that, the police will stop engaging as they are doing. Because now it's difficult to say who started what. It's a question of us getting order of the people around the same place, and I'm going to address the students and make that request. And the colonel will also talk to his men. Yeah.
Police officer.
No, he can't comment.
That was Advocate Dali Mpofu, who was leading the march, Peter, with students as they were coming from the West Campus, entering onto the main campus, when they had briefly stayed there, briefing the students, and suddenly stun grenades and rubber bullets shot at students, and they're making the students disperse. Remember, this was one of the interdicts that the university has sought of students, not more than 15 students gathering. But what came as a surprise to most of us, Peter, was there were hundreds, in fact 1,000 students, I can confirm, assembled at the West Campus, where they managed to successfully disrupt all the lectures. There was not a single police here, so we now know they were waiting for these students to come to the main campus, where large contingent of police are present here. They were waiting for the students to come here, then resort to disrupting students in the way they did. Of course, few of the students you saw in the visuals were injured. My camera person, Barbara herself, she was affected by the tear gas that the police shot. You know, now tear gas, when that happens, it's barely, people hardly get to see. They're crying, and you saw some of the students crying on our visuals. So These are the best visuals we are trying to get you. As my cameraman will just pan and show you down the road, there's still police and the students are still engaging in rounds of firing rubber bullets, stun grenades, as well as stones by the students retaliating in anger. Remember now, this is the point of time that the students had reached. They had said that they are not going to be violent. This is going to be a peaceful march. So they did so, saying that this was a peaceful march until the police started throwing, shooting at them with rubber bullets and stone grenades. Earlier this morning also, police had to resort to firing stun grenades at students. In fact, 2 students were arrested since morning. One of them specifically being the student leader, student representative, Busisiwe Siabe, who is still, she is still in Hillbrow Police Station. But these are the live visuals we are trying to bring you from Wits University main campus. Police are still very alert, very vigilant, and they've said that they're going to maintain law and order in the university. Vice Chancellor of this university, Professor Adam Habib, has strictly ordered the securities as well as police that he wants law and order in this university. Peter?
Kelvin, I guess the bigger picture now is where have the students gone to? Have they dispersed, or are they likely to form in a group somewhere else?
Peter, it's really difficult to say, but after that rounds of stun grenades and rubber bullets were fired and also tear gas was fired, students dispersed and ran into various different places around the campus. I can see students on my left, I can see students on my right, I can see students everywhere, in fact, just being vigilant themselves not to get shot at by the police themselves. A few of the students retaliated by throwing stones to the police, but it wasn't a major one like we witnessed in the previous incident, because the student leader have already addressed to the students that no matter what happens, students are going to resort in peace. These visuals that we are also bringing you, Peter, these visuals, what you're seeing, men, they are private security officials hired by the university. They are also one of these group of people that will be that have been told to secure the campus and maintain law and order in the university. But yes, this so far these are the live visuals we're bringing you from main campus of Wits University. Peter?
Kelvin, I guess looking at it from a bigger picture, the whole question everyone's going to be asking now is, at what point do university management shut down the university? I mean, it sounds like a ridiculous question, but are actual lectures still continuing?
Well, at least it was before an hour or so, Peter. The university spokesperson had confirmed to the media, stating that lectures were going on peacefully in the medical college, and even science and engineering college institute, rather, faculty was going on as usual until the students started marching. And when the first stun grenade was fired, that is when the students were agitated and they retaliated, and they started marching along with their student leaders from the main campus to West Campus. And as we come here back to the main campus, the number of students only increased, because those students that were attending the lecture in the morning, of course, they were the ones who joined the march and protest. But we are trying to speak to the police spokesperson. So I've got permission from K. Makubela to speak, from Colonel Damini to speak to you. Thank you so much. We'll catch up with you. That was one of the spokesperson of SAPS. We're just trying our luck here, speaking to everybody as they come along. He says he is going to be briefed by some of the police officials, and he will brief us quite some time later. I'm told there is an injured student there who was shot at a very close range. So these are some of the injured students. Of course, we do not know in number as of now how many of them are really injured. We saw visuals, a few of them that were injured badly.
Calvin, I actually saw those visuals you're referring to. A student was shot in the neck and she's receiving medical attention. We can see right now, it looks like fellow students are actually trying to attend to her. We saw her swallowing some tablets, probably painkillers. We can see her bleeding from her neck. That means she must have been hit by one of the rubber bullets there. Are there any ambulances around the campus at the moment, or is it just students helping other students?
It's just students helping another student here. No ambulance, no sign of university here. It's just one student helping the other. We can see she's got shot on her right neck at a very close range by police as they resorted to firing those stun grenades and rubber bullets as these students were making their way from West Campus to the main campus. That is just one of the injured students. There could be many more. We saw the other one in the visuals as she could hardly open her eyes and as she could hardly breathe. Like I said, even my camera person could hardly breathe after that round of stun grenades. But these are the live visuals. Students have dispersed in various corners of this university. These are the students. Some of them have been here since the last 2 weeks protesting for the demands. Others have joined them today, especially from the West Campus. Most of the students who were there, they joined the main protesting students, bringing the number to as big as 1,000 or so, Peter. But yes, these are the students I can confirm that have been dispersed in number.
Kelvin, sorry, I know you're catching your breath. We're trying to just get a gauge of what's happening. Interesting, Dali Mpofu there, I guess he's there in a capacity of representing some of the students, but he certainly looks like he's playing a leadership role between the police and the students just to try and quell and relax the situation a little bit.
Yes, definitely, Peter. We know Advocate Dalimpofu to be representing students anytime. Even last year, he was one of the very active, one of the leader of students who really went into helping students in whatever way he could. This past week, when the students were interdicting the referendum, or rather the opinion poll that the university had applied, the students sought again for a help with Dalimpofu, and today was not something very different. Advocate Dalimpofu knew that the students were going to mobilize today. He knew that the classes were supposed to resume from today. So he just wanted to be there as a leadership, as a leader figure there on West Campus. He did address the students and we did try and speak to him. He just gave us a brief statement, but we are planning to get more, or we are trying to get more information from him as well, because right now at this point of time we do know that the students trust him a lot. As far as all the legal cases are concerned, students do rely on him. They do trust him because he's been at the forefront of Fees Must Fall movement, not only this year, from last year itself, Peter.
Right, Kelvin, I guess that's where we'll sort of leave it. If anything else does sort of transpire, we'll be back live with you there. Kelvin Ongu on the ground there. These on the left of your screen was just a few minutes ago when we were live on air, and these shots rang out. Real concerns, Keo. Now, at what point do the varsity say, right, that's it, it's not safe enough, to continue? I mean, the students' lives are at risk here.
That's a very good question you're asking there, Peter. I mean, as at yesterday's university management had said that if any classes were disrupted at all, they would use that as the signal to actually suspend the entire 2016 academic year. But at the same time, they were also promised that lectures would continue uninterrupted. Now, what we saw at the West Campus was students actually walking right into the lecture halls and disrupting other students from their classes, and in fact, mobilizing even more students to join the movement. We saw absolutely zero police presence on the West Campus. So would that not have been a trigger to say classes have been disrupted? Let us now as management, put a halt to this or suspend the academic year. Nothing right now from Adam Habib. It's silence from management, silence from the spokesperson of the university at the moment. But what we saw now was students then being addressed by Dalimpofu, and we saw them chanting, celebrating, sort of in unison and saying, let's go on to the next step of the program, which is indeed for them to shut down the university entirely today. We saw visuals of them moving, protesting pretty calmly, pretty peacefully, Peter, I must say. Today they were not even armed at all. And while we were on the line with Calden there, we actually saw stun grenades erupting there. We heard rubber bullets being fired. And according to the police colonel, when Advocate Dalimpofu was speaking to him, the colonel says the students threw stones at them first, and they were retaliating by, firing the rubber bullets. But students, on the other hand, were seen without anything in their hands. So what exactly will the police now say triggered them to actually fire those stun grenades and rubber bullets? Were they trying to now bring back that law of no larger crowd than 15? Was that the reason why they began to fire? I mean, these are questions that just actually come to mind as we're seeing those visuals. We've got that student right there who's crying, she's got the tear gas that actually went into her eyes. She's having difficulty seeing, having difficulty breathing. We know that even our camera operator there on the ground was coughing at some point because the tear gas actually got into her lungs and into her eyes.
It's difficult to see how the university can function like this. And I know it's a big campus. I know it's a big university, 37,000 students. But, you know, when you've got to go to lectures in circumstances like these, it's certainly, you know, it's almost not worth it to have to go through all of this. And it's a clear sign now that this group of Fees Must Fall protesters are not going to allow the university to continue. And this is on the back of that poll that was conducted on Friday where around 27,000 students said we're willing to go back to classes. We want the year to conclude. We need to get our degrees. We need to finish that year. And it affects a whole lot of people. You know, your point is valid. Have these protesters taken into consideration what the impact of this is going to be, and that it's not the university's a fault that there's no free education. I mean, it should be a governmental issue, and perhaps marches to the higher education ministry or to Treasury, or you know,
I mean,
using it some other way, and let the students get on with their work there.
It's a good point you're bringing up there, Peter, that when somebody actually signed up to attend or enrolled to attend this university, they actually had a brochure that told them how much to expect to pay for that particular degree. And so perhaps they should be directing their energy towards the Ministry of Higher Education, because that's where decisions can be made. I mean, one of the vice chancellors at the universities we were on the ground with, I think it was CPUT, mentioned that as vice chancellors, they have no powers to cancel student debt. They have no powers to determine the cap at which universities can increase their fees, you know, but that they actually require the money to run efficiently, to be able to provide qualitative education to the students who are willing to be there on a daily basis to actually get an education. So one then must, you know, think about that you actually knew when you were enrolling that this is what to expect. So instead of taking out your anger and frustrations on the university, on the property, on the students who want to be there and maybe can afford to be there, or maybe are on loans to be there, why not rather try and find a more amicable, more peaceful way of resolving this matter without risking an entire academic year? I mean, we're in October right now. That's 10 months of studies, exams. You can imagine how, I mean, it's quite expensive to go to school. The textbooks, you know, the time you've invested studying and preparing, going to lectures, and right now that hanging in limbo.
I guess the other side to the story, which is going to be talked about in weeks and months to come, is the way in which the police are dealing with this. You know, if someone throws a stone at you and you fire, you know, rubber bullets at them. I mean, it brings the whole public policing issue back into the spotlight. How the police are dealing with this. You say the students weren't really armed. Did the police feel threatened in this kind of situation? Was it justified for them to shoot rubber bullets and fire tear gas? You know, they have a responsibility as well. Exactly. I understand that, and they have a mandate from the university to keep things calm and keep things safe for students. So there will always be two sides to the story. As we heard Dalia Mpofu saying there, that students started throwing rocks at the police. You know, does that warrant all the rubber bullets being fired? I mean, are we in a situation where lives could well be at risk here? We think worst case scenarios, things like Marikana, you know, where police feel you know, threatened, they feel their lives are in danger, and they lose their heads. You know, we hope that this is not the situation, and we know in the months and years after incidents like Marikana that the police have learned from these situations where it can be dealt with in a more appropriate way. But our reporter on the ground, Keldon Ongmus, caught up with Dalia Mpofu just a few minutes ago, just after those bullets were fired, and we got a short interview with him. Let's take a listen to that.
Obviously, he says his men had to respond because of the stoning. We've now agreed that the students must gather in one place, and subject to that, the police will stop engaging as they are doing. Because now it's difficult to say who started what. It's a question of us getting an order of the people around the same place, and I'm going to address the students and make that request. And the colonel will also talk to his men. Yeah.
Well, that was Advocate Darlene Bofu there addressing our reporter Calden Ongmu, who's actually on the ground, and he mentioned that after the incident with police firing rubber bullets and the students retaliating with stones, that the best thing right now that they've agreed upon with that colonel there is that the students should gather in one place, and if they do so peacefully and quickly, the police will stop engaging the tear gas, stun grenades, as well as the rubber bullets. Well, right now we have Judith on the line from Hillbrow Police Station, where we know 2 students, including Busisiwe, who's one of the protest leaders, were arrested this morning. Judith, good morning. Could you just let us know what has happened since we last spoke to you this morning? Any updates from the police as to charges that could have been laid against Busisiwe Siabe and her associate?
A very good morning to you in studio. With regard to the updates from the police, there wasn't any updates. Police remained being hesitant to speak to the media. No other students actually proceeded to come through to the police station, except for the students that we spoke to this morning. So we actually proceeded back to Wits University, and right now we're currently outside the Great Hall, where students have gathered and are singing outside the Great Hall. It is a rather large crowd outside the Great Hall, where students are clapping hands and singing. They're basically mobilized outside the Great Hall, and the police, the security is there. University security is outside the Great Hall, where hundreds of students have gathered outside the hall. That is the current update at the university.
Judith, is that where you are, outside the Great Hall right now?
I am currently outside the Great Hall while our cameraman is getting through from the other side to the Great Hall. There are multitudes of students gathered outside here singing and chanting. We are not sure at the moment what this gathering is about, but they are definitely singing and shouting outside the hall.
Judith, roughly how many students would you say at a guesstimate are outside there right now?
Well, just a rough estimate is that there are almost hundreds of students outside, definitely not reaching the thousands yet, but the numbers are huge enough to be hundreds of students.
Well, Judith, we just witnessed something that happened earlier on where students were attacked with rubber bullets and stun grenades, and crowds dispersed, and they were told to reconvene at a single location. We believe that probably that the Great Hall must be where they actually headed to, because they were being addressed earlier on by the protest leaders as well as Advocate Darlene Bofu. Are you able to see any of these protest leaders in sight where you are at the Great Hall right now?
At the moment, I can't see them. I'm seeing some students being addressed by, I think, around one student that's addressing them, but I'm not able to actually identify if it is one of those student leaders or not. Just to notify that we are standing at a distance just for the safety of media. But definitely they are being addressed by somebody. But at the moment, I cannot confirm the identity of the person if it was the same people that were in this morning's meeting.
Now, Judith, I know Calden wasn't able to let us know whether lectures were actually continuing. I know she was out on the streets, so she wasn't able to get an indication whether lectures are continuing from where you are at the Great Hall. Is there any signs of any lectures on the go at the moment?
From where I am at the moment, Peter, it does not look like there are any lectures present here. But we'll definitely be able to confirm at a later stage. But for now, we're just seeing students here and university security, but definitely not. The students are now mobilizing. They're starting to run. They're running in different directions. We're not too sure where they're running to, Peter, but they're definitely running. Not sure if it's because the police have approached them, and it looks like the police are starting to mobilize in front of them, holding the shields. They've got masks on, and the students are running in different directions, while other students remain on the stair hall, still continuing to chant with their fists in the air. That is what is currently happening now.
Are students able to access the Great Hall, Judith, from where you are, or are they barricaded outside the Great Hall?
No, they are not able to access the Great Hall. Even earlier on, when I approached the Great Hall, the university security said that nobody's allowed to go inside the Great Hall. So students don't have access inside the Great Hall, but they are gathered outside the Great Hall.
Does there seem to be any communication between the students and the police to try and quell the situation, or is there just a barricade of differences between them?
For now, it just seems like it's a barricade between the differences between the students and the police. It does not look like there's going to be any form of communication between students and police, because students are furious, and the police are also here doing their job, which is to ensure that no further protests erupt here at Wits University. But it definitely looks like the situation is intensifying.
Judith, have you been able to speak to any of the students who were gathered outside the Great Hall?
We did manage to speak to some of the students, and the students are saying that they're not concerned about the academic year being suspended, even if it means that they have to sacrifice the academic year to get their message across. A message of no fees, of free and fair and quality education. Then so be it, they will sacrifice the academic year. So that is currently the mood of some of the students that we have spoken to.
Mm. Have the students dispersed since we've been chatting there now, or just try and paint a picture of what's going on there?
Just to paint you a picture of what is currently happening here, Peter, is that now at the moment, those students that were running away a couple of seconds ago have come back, and that group of students has now again formed outside the Great Hall. That running away has stopped. The students are there. The police are also still there, but for now, no stun grenades have been fired. No rubber bullets have been fired. The students are there. The police are also there. So currently, there is the picture that can be painted is that students have mobilized in multitudes outside the Great Hall.
Judith, do the police officers look relaxed, or are they ready to fire at any moment? Are their guns at ease?
They are definitely ready to take on the situation at any moment. They do not look relaxed at all. They're already there. They're holding their shields in front of them. They're already there in a form of a line in case anything happens. They're already out there, and we will definitely be able to see what is going to happen here, because the police are ready, but the students do not look like they will be backing down anytime soon.
All right, Judith, we'll leave it there. We're going to try and get you some live pictures from outside the Great Hall there. Students seem to be gathering there, and we'll see what kind of reaction they get from the police. We're live on the ground outside the Great Hall as well, as Keldon is following that large group of students. Now, let's take